I'd like to welcome everyone to Encanto Elementary, home of the Soaring Eagles. When I was appointed principal, my first goal was to make Encanto a true neighborhood school, warm and welcoming to students, their families, and the community. Now in my 10th year as the principal, I am proud to say that Encanto puts the unity in community. Through our collective efforts and integrated teams, we've made Encanto a learning community that supports the academic, social, emotional, and physical well-being of students, staff, and families, giving them what they need to soar to great heights. Every year we open our doors and arms to new students, and we are thrilled that we serve children and grandchildren of our previous students. We have a dedicated staff here with many who have worked here for 15 plus years. Needless to say, I am proud of the work we have all done and will continue to do that makes Encanto an enchanting place to learn and to work. I'm honored to introduce Superintendent Dr. Fabi Bagul. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Buenos dias. I hope my comments actually capture all of the work that I know is necessary for community schools, but it's probably not possible. But I just want to start with thank you. So good morning, everyone. First, thank you, Principal Mandler, for welcoming us to your campus. Your warmth and your care also make this place a special school, so thank you very much. Thank you also to the California Teachers Association for bringing us together with the Learning Policy Institute so we can also share what's working, challenge what needs fixing, and deepen our commitment to all of our students. I'm honored to stand here before you with Board Vice President Richard Barrera and District E Trustee Dr. Sharon Whitehurst-Payne. Richard and Sharon, your leadership and presence mean a lot today. It's really important that you're here, so thank you. When I think about community, I recognize that this is a moment when in a school where a family walks in to drop off their child, the whole family needs to feel that not only that we support them, but we're going to be good teachers to them, but we're also going to love them and care for them. It's a place where they should belong, a place where they should experience the joy of learning. And at San Diego Unified, we believe that every school should be just that. We began this journey with community schools with 5 schools just a few years ago. And now there's over 35 with 10 new ones this year and more than 21,000 students being served. That growth isn't just numbers, it's lives changed, it's barriers lowered, and it's supports created for our communities. I'm actually going to ask for an applause for that because that's a big deal. So I know when I think about community schools, that word is very large because to me it encompasses a whole community. It gets into the real piece around what the LCAP always wanted to be, which was local control. So this isn't just a building or something that we think about or we believe in, but it's a strategy. It's a strategy to organize our school, organize our district, organize our community, and all of the resources so that our students and families can succeed, not just in academics, but in life. What makes it powerful is that it's shaped by those who know the terrain. Students, families, teachers, and neighbors. We ask them, what are your hopes? What are your challenges? And then we work together to build the supports tuned into those needs. And I'm also going to say tuned in to make sure that we tap the beautiful potential in each and every one of our communities. Community schools are built on partnerships between community organizations, families, educators, staff, and the district because it takes all of us to ensure that our children show up to school to feel the joy of learning, to feel the love and belonging that is necessary for them to thrive. I want to share some of the very compelling early outcomes from this data, but I also recognize that our statewide partners are going to go into further detail. But what we've seen is this drop in chronic absenteeism, in suspension rates, gains in academics, so everything that we want to make sure that succeeds, it's there. And these aren't just statistics. They are hope made real. They are proof that when we center attendance, relationships, supports, when we listen to what students and families say, they thrive. So here in San Diego, as in many places, students and families are dealing with pressures outside of the classroom. Food insecurity, navigating legal or immigration systems, the emotional and mental stress that comes with uncertainty, and community schools are one of our strongest tools for meeting those needs, not just tomorrow, but today. Yet we know that many of these programs depend on funding that's not secure long term. The research shows us that what happens when we sustain this kind of work, not only do outcomes improve, but the most vulnerable students, those we must reach, get the support they deserve. That makes this investment not only moral and smart, but also essential. With that, I want to turn to someone who has been studying this impact statewide. It is my pleasure to introduce Efrain Mercado Jr., Director of California Policy at the Learning Policy Institute. He's going to walk us through more of the findings and help us think together what are our next steps for both San Diego and for California. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you very much. Good morning, everyone. My name is Efrain Mercado, and I'm Director of California Policy at the Learning Policy Institute. Just quickly, founded in 2015, the Learning Policy Institute conducts and communicates independent, high-quality research to improve education policy and practice. LPI seeks to advance evidence-based policy at the local, state, and federal levels that support empowering and equitable learning for each and every child. Since 2021, California has made an unprecedented $4.1 billion investment in the California Community Schools Partnership Program, establishing the nation's largest community schools initiative. California's investment in community schools focuses on the state's highest need schools and came at a critical time as the COVID-19 pandemic dramatically altered California's educational landscape, widening long-standing challenges and creating new ones. Chronic absence rates surged to unprecedented levels, test score gaps widened, and student, staff, and educator mental health challenges intensified. These impacts were particularly severe in high-poverty schools and among historically marginalized student groups. LPI's newest study, The Community Schools' Impact on Student Outcomes, Evidence from California, assesses the extent to which the grants effectively reached high-need schools and evaluates the impact of community school practices supported by the implication grants on student outcomes, including attendance, suspensions, and academic achievement. The study compares changes in these outcomes over time between schools that received grants and a matched group of similar schools that did not, and focuses on the 458 schools that are in the first cohort of grantees. Our analyses of student outcomes following the first full year of implementation for the first cohort of grantees revealed consistent positive impacts across multiple domains. Community schools demonstrated a meaningful reduction in chronic absence, on average 30% greater than experienced by similar matched community schools. Improvements in regular attendance were most pronounced in elementary schools, suggesting particularly strong implementation of attendance-focused strategy at this level. Because of the scale of this grant program, the average reduction in chronic absence rates equates to more than 5,000 additional students attending school regularly in the first year alone. Community schools achieved a notable reduction of 15% on suspension rates. Those reduced rates were largest in secondary schools, where baseline suspension rates were higher and where restorative practices and improved school climate may have had the greatest impact on disciplinary outcomes. Most importantly, community schools improved student test scores, with schools implementing the community schools approaches showing roughly, on average, the equivalent of 43 additional days of learning for math and approximately 36 additional days of learning for ELA. And that was the average in overall. These gains were largest for historically underserved students. While students from all backgrounds benefited greatly from community school investments, there were larger than average effects for Black students, English learners, and low-income students. The differential impacts for Black students translate to approximately 130 days of additional learning in math and 151 days in ELA, representing substantial acceleration in academic progress. I'll say that again, just for everyone. The differential impacts for Black students, 130 days of additional learning in math and 151 days in ELA. It's pretty significant. The benefits for English learners equated to 58 days for math and 72 more days of learning for ELA. And for low-income students, these impacts are roughly equivalent to about 58 additional days of learning in math and 43 days of learning for ELA. And lastly, these test score improvements were most substantial in schools that made the greatest progress in reducing chronic absence. These findings are extremely promising, bringing to the forefront what educators on the ground have known for years, that community schools work. LPI looks forward to continuing on our path of research and further examining the impacts of California's historic investment in community schools on a variety of measures, including the experiences of the additional cohorts as soon as we can. Thank you for the opportunity to be here, and I'm happy to share our research. Thank you. And I'll hand it over to David Goldberg.
Good morning. Buenos dias. I'm honored to be here as the president of the California Teachers Association. We represent 310,000 members across every community in the state. And what's happening here is incredible and beautiful. And in this particular moment, when schools are under attack like never before, people looking to divide us, when communities are under attack like never before. These kind of models that you all are uplifting, of people, bringing people together, seeing our community as assets, is the most beautiful and important thing. It's a model and it's a gift that you all are giving all of us. So we're honored to be here. I'm honored to be here. And what happens here, by the way, if people outside of California would listen, there's important lessons here for the entire nation. 1 out of 8 students in this nation are in school in California. So what happened here has a huge impact. And the results we're seeing when we treat our communities as assets, as amazing parents and educators and students and district administrators and elected leaders who are behind us. This shows what happens when we uplift each other. And at a time when democracy is under attack like never before, you all are creating democratic places where educators, parents, and community and district come together and make decisions about what our schools look like. And so I'm honored to be here. We know the most important thing we're doing that this gives us, community schools, is a model. We've been fighting back against these attacks. This allows us to now fight forward with a model that we have to continue to uplift and say every school should be like this. Every school should have this funding. This should be the baseline. And so as educators, we're willing and excited to be part of this movement, part of alignment with anyone who's into this model of uplifting communities and students. So thank you for having us. Thank you for allowing us to be part of this struggle. And by the way, we are doing this. We are supporting, CTA is supporting, I think now 100 districts, 100 unions, because we know that if this is going to be successful, the educators, and not just educators, but the union has to be one of the vehicles to really make this happen. That brings the power and some of the expertise in the classroom to make this happen, along with parents and community districts. So we're honored. Thank you. Appreciate you. And now I want to bring up Jason Babineau, who's the Senior Director here around community schools in San Diego. Thank you.
It's not very often that I'm following someone that's taller than me. Mr. Goldberg, thank you for your advocacy of this important work. And to our amazing Superintendent Bagula, thank you for your steadfast support and prioritization of this work in San Diego Unified. For decades, we have searched for equitable solutions to uplift our highest need school communities that are both systemic and sustainable. And the fact of the matter is that the solutions have been right in front of us this entire time. When we are intentional about gathering the collective voice within our school communities, and most importantly, addressing that voice, we are going to continue to see positive student outcome shifts as evidenced by this report. Across the 35 schools in San Diego Unified implementing the community school strategy in various stages, we have collectively developed structures and processes that center in on data collection from all educational partner groups, crystallizing into school priorities which have become an anchor for action. Community school coordinators, principals, educators, parents, caregivers, students, and community partners from each site have intentionally addressed the priorities through improvement science mechanisms aimed at student outcome shifts. Relationships are built and partnerships are fostered that strategically meet the needs of our individual school communities. It's a multi-pronged approach to student support, but rooted in collaboration, data, and intention. Our community school coordinators are cornerstones of helping put these pieces together, and I am so excited that you're going to be able to hear from the amazing community school coordinator here at Encanto Elementary. One thing I do want to make very clear is that this strategy is indeed about teaching and learning. The student outcome shifts we aim to see in our highest needs communities will most rapidly occur within the classroom. The vision of the community school strategy implementation in San Diego Unified is that the classrooms are transformed into learning spaces that truly reflect the students that we serve. That students can see their identities, their cultures, their communities, their collective voices reflected in the curriculum and instruction. That they are learning through innovative teaching practices like community-based and project-based learning that bring purpose and relevancy to their learning as they enter the real world. I commend our educators at school sites who have engaged in professional learning with the desire to enhance their own practices while creating welcoming, culturally responsive, and innovative classrooms. All kids are our kids, and in San Diego Unified, we aim to serve as a model across the state and the United States for what the possibilities can be when we implement the community school equity strategy with purpose, intention, and love. To that end, I'm honored to bring up the president of the San Diego Educators Association, Kyle Weinberg.
I'm Kyle Weinberg. I'm the president of the San Diego Education Association. I'm a middle school special education teacher from Bell Community School, and I'm proudly organizing together with over 6,000 union educators in San Diego Unified School District. At Bell Middle, we serve a high-need, diverse student population, and we have a staff of skilled veteran educators who stay at our school year after year because we have the power to influence the direction of our school and can tailor supports to the unique needs of the student community that we serve. Since 2018, we have fought as SDA union educators together with community allies to win community schools in our district with strong collaborative leadership like we see at Bell that empowers all partners in our school communities, from students to families to school staff to school administrators, and help our schools reach our full transformative potential. Since 2020 in San Diego, our labor community management partnership has made a clear collective commitment to investing and expanding community schools. This collaboration reflects a shared belief that schools thrive when students, educators, families, and community partners are engaged in decision-making and resource allocation. We know that shared decision-making and our voice is the cornerstone of strong community schools, and this is central to the California Community Schools Framework. Here in San Diego, we've put this into practice by centering site governance teams and joint leadership structures that ensure that educators, families, and community voices shape every step of implementation. We know that when we share power, schools become more responsive and more equitable. This is all that much more important in these times when our school communities are threatened by this federal administration that is going after public education, our immigrant communities, and our LGBTQ communities. We must continue to stand up as union educators together with families, students, community allies, and district leadership to defend this powerful equity strategy and other equity strategies like community schools. And in the wealthiest state in the country, we must fight forward to win the funding to continue to advance these transformational outcomes for our most vulnerable and highest need students. Adelante. Next up, we have our Encanto Community Schools Coordinator, Clarissa Elmore.
Good morning, everyone. Buenos días a todos. My name is Clarissa Elmore, and this last year was my first year as a community school coordinator, and it has been an incredible, beautiful journey. In just that first year, we partnered with both existing and new organizations to bring meaningful opportunities to our students. We connected them with one of our neighboring churches for tutoring. We helped them provide swim lessons during the school day at the local YMCA. And we even saw some of our young female students take on a science challenge where they competed against other schools. We also held a spring resource fair that brought parents together with organizations and services that could support their families. We also established a community care closet. With the help of our partners, we were able to stock that closet with uniforms, backpacks, dry food, and shoes, so that our students can come to school prepared, confident, and worry-free. And this year, we've already hit the ground running. We're building on last year's collaborations, continuing those partnerships, and weaving them more deeply into our daily work. These efforts are not going to be one-time events. They're becoming sustainable programs and systems that support student success for the long term. And that's exactly why Community Schools Initiative is so important. It allows us to keep our focus on outreach, on building strong relationships, and on inviting everybody to the table. This work ensures that schools are not just places of learning, but also centers of support, opportunity, and community connection. As a community school coordinator, I feel incredibly fortunate here at Encanto Elementary to work alongside an amazing staff and community partners who are so committed to doing what's best for our children. That's what being a community school is about. Creating systems and programs that last, programs that help our students thrive. And it doesn't stop here. Our parents are a vital part of this work. Being a community school means inviting parents to the table, putting them in those rooms where decisions are being made, not just as participants, but as thought partners and leaders. We're giving them a voice, empowering them to step into leadership and creating opportunities for them to show up for their children in new and meaningful ways. And we're already seeing the impact. Parent involvement is increasing. We see our families here every day at our school. They're more engaged, and together we're building an even stronger, more beautiful community than we already had. As we look ahead, we will continue to invite even more parents, community members, and partners to join us. Together we can continue building opportunities that help every child succeed and make our community even stronger. And with that, I want to introduce one of our many amazing parents that come. This is Jessie Ortega.
The reason for me to be in the school is always my daughter, and I saw she was so happy and more motivated to come to school. Before, I only used to help them when the field trips because I didn't know how to help more in her school. Until one day in the meetings with Clarissa, she let us know that the school would like to have more parents involved in the school helping, and that's how I started to get more involved in this community school. And I'm so happy to be part of the community. Now with the community school and the Cafecito with Clarissa, in our family nest, we have more communication. That's how we know how to help in the school. We also give ideas of what we need and what type of resource we need. Thank you.